Welcome back. Another episode of Leisure Hour Radio. Today, we got a special episode for you guys. Whoa, that's tripping. I've been fucking stoned all day. Today's 420. We got a beautiful, brilliant episode for the show. We got a beautiful, brilliant episode for the show. We're going to be going over the history of weed, history of 420, why it became a day. I'm going to talk about all my best weed stories, all my stories from my past, my present, and maybe my future. You don't know how fucking high I'm going to get today, all right, people? I wasn't planning on releasing the video of this episode, but we're going to play it by ear. I don't know what drugs I'm going to be doing. Hopefully, just marijuana. But we'll see. And we might get a couple call-ins. I might call a couple of my buddies, a couple of comedians, past guests, maybe see what they have to say about weed, how weed's helped them in life, how it's hurt them. Because it has a real different effect on everyone. You talk to five people, five of them will come back and say, "Yeah, I'm fucking stoned." But then the fucking or four of them will come back and say, "Yeah, I'm fucking stoned." But one of them will come back and he's already writing fucking a list of people he's gonna murder. So weed, it's a strange thing, but we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna start with this: the story of 420. Wow, this is one of the most beautiful things. If there is ever like a Bible here, wait, let me spark up this jib if we're gonna be talking about 420. So so 420, it's probably the most beautiful weed story there is. Let me pull it up just so I had to know for sure I'm telling the right story. So 420, it's a really beautiful story. It actually started. There were four kids. Any other any other weed story usually starts with four kids, unless it's a little fucking, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, most great, brilliant weed stories they come out of just four people. Four people, what do they have in kind? They want to get fucking high, man. So the origins of 420 start in 1971. It was five high schools. I'm sorry, that's why I got to look up the details. Five high school students in San Rafael, California, used the term 420 in connection with a plan to search for an abandoned cannabis crop. Based on a treasure map made by the grower, the Waldos referred to this plan with the phrase 420 Lewis. And imagine how fucking just even being in high school back in the day, if you had any type of journey to go on, just fucking driving your buddy down the street to grab a fucking extra pair of shorts so they came in fucking gym class because fucking Michelle was rubbing up against him in basketball. But that's besides the fact that's a story for another day, and that's a true story. But so it's just a fucking amazing thing. Five kids, they fucking have a map of where there's a hidden fucking crop of cannabis. That sounds like fucking amazing to me. I wish, see, there's this thing going on right now. I think it's called Nauto. Fuck. Nauto fucking Rando is what it's called, I believe. And it's kind of like that. You get given like a map and like a quest to go on to go find like a certain like object in the fucking woods or something. But it doesn't compare. Imagine the rush these kids were having back in the day. And they were given a map from a grower and they said you have to go find 420 Lewis, and that's an old ancient crop that's been fucking hid away that no one can find. I mean, Jesus Christ. But the history of wheat, it's really fucking insane because obviously like everyone's got the same story about it. Like oh, like we can do this, we can do that, but like look at all the medical effects it has on people. But you know, I'm gonna tell those people to shut the fuck up. Either you smoke weed just to smoke weed. If you really all these people, now you got me in an opinion game. I got myself into this. I got no one here to talk to, so I got to fucking roll with the punch. But now I'm in opinions. All these fucking people that were talking shit about people smoking weed. I was the original. There's people like me. I smoked weed for the first time when I was 14 years old. I was at a buddy's house. We were at a sleepover. Most fucking stories come out of a sleepover from back in the day. But at least I wasn't molested this time. But so I was at a buddy's house and we all were fucking hanging out. They were drinking. I wasn't in this drink, and I grew up fucking alcoholic parents. I tried laying away from the booze, and one day it actually caught up to me. But here, so uh, I was at this party. I fucking walk around the house. Kid's older sister's boyfriend is fucking tucked away in like in between the house and the neighbor's house, and he was smoking something. It smelled fucking delicious, man. You ever smell like? Have you ever been at a fucking a Krispy Cream donut at like 5 in the morning because like you going to fucking work because you get a fucking job, but your buddy's telling you, hey man, just get the fuck out of here. I want to wake up the next day and you not be here. That's the best thing that could ever happen to me. All right, Will. And fucking so yeah, you ever had a Krispy Kreme donut? Right when it comes out of the oven, it just smells amazing. It really fucking lurks you into it. And that was kind of like my first experience, like really smelling weed. I knew it smelled like a skunk, but when I fucking got a whiff of this shit, it lifted me up and pulled me towards the kid. And he was about 19, 20. I was 14. He offered me a fucking rip of the blunt. I said, of course, man. And looking back now, I don't think if I was because I'm 22 now. If I was in a situation and like my fucking girlfriend's little brother's friend comes stumbling up to me, fucking like a drug addict in an alley, and says, "Hey, like looking for a puff," I don't think I would have offered one like he did. But I don't know. I've never been given the opportunity, so we'll see. There, you never know. Maybe one day I'll give a kid a story like this man gave me. So, but it doesn't end up in a good story. It ends up in a really completely fucked up story. I have ADHD. I mean, like ADD. Like I'm just a kid that fucking like to get in a little bit of trouble back in the day. But I smoked this weed and for some reason, I like kind of like blacked out. I was like drunk. It was like it's called Mr. Moon Man. Yeah, that's what we called it. Other groups of people they would call it something else. I don't know what the Iroquois called it. I don't know what the other Indian tribes or fucking Asian tribes back in the day that smoke weed. But sometimes when you smoke it the first time, you can get so fucking high. It's like kind of doing like a heroin or like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like I drank a fucking bottle of Jack Daniels and I was blackout drunk. I couldn't walk. I could barely see. I just remember I kept sitting down and falling off of chairs. But like not like in a cool way, not like in a I'm a homie like slick like sitting back and then he just like you kind of like start sliding down. No, I was just falling left and right off of chairs. I was so fucked up, man. And and then it actually had some fucking long lasting effects. I don't know if it's still with me to this day, but for some reason, like for 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't feel back to normal. I always felt a little high. And like I was saying, I have ADD, ADHD. I was always jumping around in class. I was in seventh grade at the time. I was a huge nuisance to the class, especially my math class. She number one hated that I was always chewing gum and pulling in bitches. Actually, no, I was doing bad. My grades weren't that great. Yeah, but so she hated me. And I was high for like 2 weeks after the first time I smoked. And I would just go in the class. I didn't say a word to anyone because I thought I was like fucked up. Cause like I thought like I was gonna be like caught in a trip. Cause every town's got a guy. I hate to bust off a weed for a second there, but every town has a fucking kid in their town or like a grown or like an older kid that there's just stories going around like, hey, this kid, I fucking forget his name from my town but he everyone used to say he was stuck in a trip and like he took acid one time, man. I'm like, Mike, like we gotta watch out. Like you might be fucking stuck in a weed high. Imagine being stuck in a weed high. I would have said my entire quarantine was being stuck in a weed high. But so like it or not, take it how you want. That weed story, first story of ever smoking weed. I blackout drunk basically, but then it ended up being the reason why I passed seventh grade because I put my head in the books and I was scared and I was frightened and literally frightened every day that I wasn't gonna ever come back to normal. So I started actually doing work instead of throwing gum at I think her name was Isabel in front of me. But here, let me fix my hair. Let me fix my hair. Well, but in other good news, on the Lord's Day itself, for some reason, the government decided to send me some cash. I think it's for my. I don't think it's my stimulus. It's more than what the stimulus was. I don't want to tell you how much they send me. I'm probably gonna end up in some debt. I already owe the government a lot of money for college, and I'm swimming in debt, people. That's why I don't know if all my ads and shit are gonna be on there, but if they are, you can click the link below if you like saving money, if you like DoorDash or Instacart, I forget what it's gonna be. You like saving $15 on your first $30 order, something like that. I forget what the fucking code is. I don't really care. I have my own job. I don't care. All right, so back to the store. All right, so there's some amazing things that happen with weed throughout the history. People finding it, people just like using it for different ways, either rope, hemp, like medicine, to get fucking stoned with your boys. But there's just plenty of different ways that it's been used. And I actually thought this was a good story. But when Napoleon Dynamite, fuck, that's a movie. We're talking about a man. When Napoleon Bonaparte invaded invaded Egypt, he quickly learned that there was no alcohol. And obviously, those French fucking pricks, those bastards, they're just fucking boozing it up, fucking smoking cigarettes out of their mouth, and they're being fucking annoying. But without them alcohol, it forced the French soldiers to find something else. So they actually ended up diving in, indulging in marijuana when they're in the Middle East. Well, going through the Middle East into Egypt, but that's where they discovered it, and they started popping it down. And alcohol is it's in most of the places in the Middle East, but just if you're a devout Muslim, you can't touch alcohol. You can't sell it. You can't even make it. You can't do anything around alcohol and most substances actually. But so yeah, they all started indulging in weed. They grew a fond liking to it, and they eventually came back to France after conquering. Napoleon. That guy was a fucking dickhead, and he was taking up the world. He was kind of like a baby Hitler in a way. Maybe Hitler looked at him in a way that he wouldn't even imagine now. But this is a show about marijuana, and let's keep it on that. So but Napoleon Bonaparte, his soldiers started smoking weed. They eventually brought it back with them to France, and that's how they was like they started a culture of just like people smoking fags and smoking jibs. You know what I mean? So they was passing one, and they was keeping one of theirs for themselves. Um, what else we got in the history? We actually, I'll tell you guys another story. So weed, it can be great. It can be amazing. I haven't even told any great stories about it yet, besides the fact that those five kids, they're 420 Lewis. That's one of the most beautiful stories in weed history. But here, let me bring you down a darker road in the weed history game, baby. It's just a much darker road. So weed has its ups, its downs, its highs, its lows, its anxiety, and its fucking courage that it can give you. But there also was a time. I'm only 22, but I've been smoking weed for a long time now, almost half of my life, and uh, there was a time where weed wasn't looked at like it is now, and you would have to go either to a local drug dealer. You'd have to go to either a local drug dealer. You'd have to start looking online. You'd ask a friend at work. You would, it was all word of mouth back in the day. You know what I mean? You found a weed guy, you stuck with him. His shit sucked. You had no one else to go to. You were trapped. You were trapped. But and then eventually this thing came along. It was called. It wasn't Weed Maps. It was it was right before Weed Maps. It was an online web. It was like a basically a catalog and like a Facebook for people that smoke weed and people that are trying to move weed. And it was basically there was already some shit going on, but it mostly wasn't weed sales on the dark web. You could definitely get it, but this was right in the time where weed was blowing up into what it is now, and you can get so fucking high on it. It's a different fucking game now. But this is like when there's still where you get a bag, you get a bunch of stems and seeds, and fucking you barely even got high on it. But we had to connect. I'm not gonna say my buddy that I went into this with. We had to connect. We were getting the best bud. It was called Agent Orange, and not to be confused with the chemical that came back with many men and women that lived in Vietnam after the Vietnam War. It's still in some of their bodies today. And I actually might call in a friend that, well, not a friend, he's got out of jail. He's a coworker of mine. He does roofing with me. Yeah, he has Agent Orange in him, and he's a hell of a weed smoker. Great guy. Just got out of the clink, doing good. Um, what was I saying? Yeah, so I had the best weed. I had the best weed you could get your fucking hands on. The best weed you could get your tits on, believe it or not. It was Agent Orange. It literally looked like orange. And this shit was flying off the shelves. We were selling it online. We were selling it door to door. And we were selling it to anyone that wanted to fucking buy it. And that's when Little Johnny knew he fucked up. Because because when you get a name like that, you start blowing it up. Eventually, one day I got arrested by the DEA. That's a story for another time, and maybe at the end of this episode, because that also involves weed. But so I'm flipping bags, I'm flipping burgers, I'm flipping dogs, but that's mostly just at my pool because I have a pool and you don't. Um, nah, so yeah, I was flipping bags as a young kid. I was probably like 14, 15. Started selling 15 to like 17 when I was a young adult. I wasn't even an adult. I was a fucking when I mean I was a kid. Yeah, when I that stage was so this was around the time I was 16. I had my license. I was selling online. I can't remember what the fucking website's called. I'm gonna remember by the end of this. I was literally just talking about it, and I don't write things down just because it makes it too boring for me. Um, I'd rather come up with it off the top of my head. It's the first episode I've done without a guest. I don't know if you guys like it, but I just decided it'd be better off to do it because I'm going to tell stories of my past, and I don't want like I don't want someone else here just sitting in and listening. So uh, fuck, where the fuck was I? I was flipping Agent Orange. I was selling it. I was online. Forgot the name of the website, but so I got a client out in Marlborough, Massachusetts. You know anything about Marlborough, Massachusetts? You know it's not like where I'm from. It's a fucking shithole. I mean, I'm not from the greatest area. I'm not. I'm from fucking Three Bridge Town. I'm from an island. I'm an island kid. But besides that, I was just flipping these bags. I ended up in Marlborough. I had a client. She sent me a picture. She said, "Hey, like, 'cause we kind of had to like type out on a picture, type out on a picture, then you send that picture to someone else, and that's a conversation exchange. So, hey, like, I see your product. Your product looks good. What do you think you could do for a pound?" And I typed back whatever number it was at the time. I forget. It probably was around like 2,800, but I don't know. It's a different time in game, like in the Wii game. Like weed's much cheaper now. So I replied back, yeah, this is my price, whatever it was at the time. And she says, I love it. Yeah, definitely come. Let's do it. I love the Agent Orange. She looks fucking amazing, which it was. It was the best weed you could get your hands on, probably in Boston at the time. So I go out there, I go out and I'm fucking parked. She tells me to go next to the cemetery. Spooky cemetery, man. Fucking look like no one's been buried there in fucking at least 50 years. Gravestones broken. There's a hill in the back. The hill has no significance, but we were gonna go smoke weed on it. And brings it back to 420. So I was with two buddies. One of my buddies had a fillet bat, like a little bat that you would hit over a fish when you get them on your dock of your boat, and you'd kill the fish with it. And he had that. He was in the back. I told him, "Hey, shit goes down. Fucking hit her over the head, and you know what to do." Oh, and I miss one of the best parts of the store. So when she sent her, she liked my product. You usually would go through and you would send a picture. Like I'd say, hey, you send a picture of yourself just so I know who you are, like maybe a couple, and like maybe like your Facebook profile. So she sent a couple of pictures. Fat, black, big, uh, huge afro. I couldn't. I see. The thing is, we couldn't. It was most likely a man that transitioned to a woman. That's why we're calling her a woman for the sake of the story. But we couldn't tell. It could have been a woman that transitioned to a man. Could have been a man or a woman. We had no fucking clue. But she starts fucking walking up to my car. She's literally doing a crip walk. If you've seen any fucking movie from back in the days with Bloods, Crips in it, she's walking like swaying her shoulders. We were trying to see like because we saw her coming up like a mile of street. We could tell like it was her. We were watching, we were examining, we were just looking it over. And we all were like, "Is that a gun in her waist? Is that a gun on her? You think she's got a gun on her? Gun, gun, gun." And we're just looking, and we're like, "All right, fuck it." She comes up to the car, opens up her wallet, and she shows that she has the money. She says, "Hey, do you mind if I just get in the car? I feel a lot more comfortable if I was in the car." And I said, "Baby, for your comfort, anything." And I did not say that. I didn't know if it was a man or a woman. I do not care though. Cancel culture. Listen to the rest of the story. She gets in the fucking back of the car instantly. Colt 45. I look at the barrel of the gun. Fresh gun. I love guns, but if she puts it right at the back of my fucking dome, literally, I'm just like, what the fuck? And she's like, give me everything you fucking got: money, weed, phones, everything. And I'm just like, whoa, 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 sir, woman, man, I don't know what to call you. Pump the fucking brakes. We came out here to do you a favor. We're selling you this weed. It's Agent Orange. I know you've heard of it. It's the greatest weed in town. That's why I got this shirt. But I'm gonna tell you this. You're gonna have to fucking kill me to take it. And she goes, what? And I go, I know you're not gonna kill me. I know you're not gonna fucking kill two of my friends. And I know you're not gonna steal this car that has a GPS on it attached to it in the car where it could be searched and found anywhere. I told my parents I was going to sell weed tomorrow. I literally said the story. I was like, I come from a shitty family. You think they want to lose their drug dealer? No. So they're not going to get rid of me. So fucking, I talk her out of it, and she ends up only getting away with a half ounce, brother. I talked her out. My sister out there. I talked her out of it. I actually wish I could find her nowadays, though, because she really needs to get on a strict cardio workout. Once she got the weed from me, she got out of the car. She ran to the cemetery. Remember that piece from the beginning of the story? She ran through the cemetery, and she looked out of shape. She ran probably about 15, 20 feet and was out of breath. And we could have caught up with her. If she didn't have a gun, we would have caught up with her and beat the shit out of her. But at the end of the day, we walked away with our lives, our phones, and majority of the Agent Orange. And the Agent Orange story will come back, and we'll revisit that. But here, let me spark up this Jibba John. I have some other good stories of weed. There was a spot in my town when I was growing up when I was a little kid, which it sucks. So my stories of being a little kid involves drugs and selling drugs and like just getting in trouble. But are you kidding me? Get out of here! I'm doing a podcast. No, 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 no. That's not my clothes. Oh, well, some of that's actually dirty. I was trying to siphon through it all. I got to get rid of a lot of stuff. All right, can you not? Because you threw it all over my. All right. We'll figure this out later. All right. Where was I? This podcast was going so well. Uh, that was my mother. She just intruded down here. Oh fuck. Oh, yeah. It sucks. Like all my stories, like from being a kid, like they really should be like fucking going down like a lake or like finding a dead body with your buddies or actually that happened to us once actually. Um, what other classic childhood stories are there? Fuck. Going to your first Red Sox game. Going to your first Red Sox game with your father, maybe that, or with your family, and seeing Dustin Pedroia fucking. I don't know. I don't know what a normal kid's story would be like, so I just can only tell mine. But I felt like I was pretty normal to a point. All right, so I remember where I was. So we were back in the day. There used to be this famous smoking spot in my town. It was called the Kush Bush. It was a bush. You look up dead Mass. There's an old slave house in the middle of town called the Endicott House. It was like the first like multi millionaires to live around here. Then right down the street, the oldest wood frame house is there. It's from 1834, I believe. It's called the Fairbanks House, but that's enough of that. So yeah, at this old slave house and a cut house, uh, we um we had a bush. There was a giant bush. I don't know the exact name of it, but it had a hollow inside. And kids would sneak in there, and we would all. It started off just as a cush bush. You'd go in there, burn, hang out for a little bit, get out of there. You pick up your mess. You come in what you have. You leave with what you got. But then eventually, it kind of morphed into a spot like kids were bringing in couches, kids were bringing in fucking TVs, kids were bringing in fucking their mom, telling them, "Hey, I'm moving in here. This is my buddy Carl. We're paying fucking 13.50 a week, and we're living fucking for free. There's utilities, there's fucking toilets, there's everything." The place got way too fucking out of hand, and people were smoking weed there. I eventually got sucked off a few times there. My buddy got dragged out of there by his father. But we were young, we were dumb, we were innocent, and that's what weed is. That's weed. It can be amazing things, but once you bring in too much of it, or once you get fucking too far gone, it's hard to come back. It's hard to make a comeback off of weed. Once you spend 30, 40, 50 years of your life just smoking it, doing nothing, podcast, and I can't tell if my yeah, so fucking all right, back to the story of weed. Back to the story of weed. So weed, it was 1831, I believe, that weed was made illegal in, I think it was 31 states in the United States. And then quickly following that, there was a tax put on cannabis that would basically make weed so crazily expensive that it wasn't legal in those states that it was made illegal. Let me pull it up just to make sure my history is right here, people. Yeah, it was 18 through 18 1916 and 1931. Uh, that's when 29 states outlawed marijuana. And then the tax went in and it basically banned it nationwide, despite objections from American Medical Association. So, big medicine was always pushing towards cannabis. They always, what isn't big medicine not pushing towards? You know those fucking pricks out there. They're pushing Pfizer. They're pushing Moderna. I want the fucking J&J. I want a fucking, dude. If I could grow a third, if they told you you could have a fucking second and possibly a third penis from the J&J vaccine, you know how many fucking dudes would be in line to get that thing? Because like I saw the other day I was watching fucking YouTube videos. What am I gonna do? I'm a kid. I get no fucking cable, and I got Hulu and Netflix, and they've been fucking slacking recently, baby. So I've been on YouTube just watching whenever I can get my fucking hands on. And a commercial comes up. He goes, "This so and so product, it's a bacteria." He goes, "It will make your nuts get larger." And he goes, "Who wouldn't want that to be in their life?" There's so many. My camera's fucked up. I can't tell if I'm like dying or if my camera's fucked up. If you're watching it on YouTube, then it doesn't. Then yeah, it's the only one that it really matters for. But if you're listening to this, it doesn't really matter at all. So I gotta keep it going with the story. So he says this bacteria grows your fucking nuts. He's like, who wouldn't want bigger testicles? And he doesn't explain that it has any type of like growth in your testosterone, any type of increase in any stamina, anything. He's just saying, bigger nuts, let's do it. And then I said, bigger nuts, let's ride. And I bought the fucking shit and it doesn't work. Um, but enough of that. Enough. All right. All right, we're gonna get back to the history of marijuana. I'm gonna tell you guys two more good things that happened about weed, and I'm gonna tell you two more bad, and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I gotta get to the bank. I gotta put in this fucking check from the government. Um, mm, 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 mm. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting about Napoleon. So obviously, cannabis is thought to be introduced to Africa by Arab and Indian Hindu travelers. They think that's how it was spread. Obviously, you know the big parts like where weed is. It's obviously in the Middle East. It's obviously in India, and it's obviously in Jamaica. But I feel like Jamaica gets a bad rap for it. They get all the stereotypes. I feel like the Rastaman, like I mean that I don't know. It's not really a stereotype if you make it your own. But like in a way, like you're not gonna go to Jamaica and like every dude's gonna be walking around with some Rasta shit on. They're not gonna be smoking jibs in your face, blowing it out, fucking selling weed in the bag on the beach. Actually, everyone does it. You ever gone on vacation? Yeah, let me just tell a couple stories about what it's like buying weed in other places in the world. So you go on vacation anywhere like Bahamas, Bermuda, anything like a lot of people from the Northeast, we go up there. We go out there. It's an easy spot. It's close. It's like going to Florida, but you're not with all the fucking shitheads. So it's a very common vacation. Everyone goes to Bahamas. Everyone goes to Bermuda. Everyone goes to Aruba, like that type of places. Like if you're gonna get a vacation, you might as well go there. So when you're out there, if you really want to buy a satchel of weed, which my father calls it, I love calling it a satchel of weed. Buy a satchel of weed, you gotta go walk the beach a little bit. Maybe they'll find you, maybe you'll find him, but he'll just be walking around with a white sack. You go up to him, you get ripped off for some shitty fucking weed. They obviously cut it with some shit. And that's the thing. A lot of times when you buy weed in other countries, it has additives and shit. Because if you're buying shit that was grown in like Maine, California, Colorado, that's really what you want to get your hands on nowadays. The big three, and there's obviously other places where they're growing great weed in America, but bulk of it would come from Mexico, Middle East, just like other countries before, and it's still majority of it still does. But when you're buying weed, I noticed this. I bought weed in every country I've ever gone to. I've gone to probably like 5 countries besides America. But the one interesting thing is you always instantly start thinking in your head, you're like, oh, this shit's probably laced. I'm fucked up right now. I'm fucking faded. But you're just already in your head and you're paranoid, and weed makes you even more paranoid. So that's the thing. But when I was actually in the Middle East, I thought it was the best weed I ever smoked in my life, and I was high as shit. Well, this is how you have to get it there. So obviously, in the tropics, you have a bag man that walks on the beach. It's very convenient, it's easy to get it out there. But if you say you go to a place like Israel or the Middle East, where legally, technically, it's all very illegal, but at night, everyone fucking smokes weed out there. Everyone's smoking weed everywhere, and they hate to admit it because they just got this stupid tag associated with it. But to get weed in the Middle East, you have to go on an app. Either you have to go on Telegram, or you have to find like a you have to find like a kid on the street, like not a kid, but you gotta find someone that looks like. Because if you smoke weed out there, like if the all these stoners, you get it, they hide it. It's illegal there, so it's tough to find like a kid, like or like a young person that's just like fucking fried. But you can definitely find it in the markets. You go up, you find like a dealer at any market. I bought it in a market once, bought it on Telegram once, and I bought it in a nightclub once when I was there. And the prices, you'd be surprised. It varies around the world, obviously. Like a gram there, I paid, I think, $30. I think when I was in Bermuda the last time, it was probably about $20 for a gram. I don't know. I think you usually just tend to throw the money at those guys on the beach. You say, just give me what you got. You're on vacation. You probably want some money at the casinos. That's all you really could do there at night. You hit the casinos. In the day, you hit the beach. But uh yeah, so you gotta find someone either in the market or like a kid with a skateboard. Same shit as here. Just there's a lot more military around. You don't want to be smoking in public. You definitely don't want to be picking shit up doing money exchanges with shady people in other countries. You don't know what you're gonna get your hands on. And I thought it was the best weed I ever smoked in my life. Got me crazy high. But then for the week after, I was just fatigued, and I was there for a whole week after, and I had to smoke, smoke, smoke. Obviously, you got to smoke weed. Wherever you go, you gotta find it, you gotta fucking buy it, and you gotta roll it. So you're smoking it, you feel a little fatigued, you feel like shit. You're out there, you throw up in public, and that's a no-no. You don't want to throw up in public in the Middle East. You throw up in public in a trash can. They think you're doing biological warfare, which I didn't know was going to happen. I didn't know you definitely should find a bathroom if you're going to throw up in public out there. But they instantly think biological warfare. They fucking start questioning you. They say, "What the fuck you doing? Why you throwing up?" I said, "I've smoked a little bad weed." That doesn't help in a country where weed's very illegal. They let me go because if they arrest an American, a Jewish one. You know my lawyers? Not. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's just not a good look. The trip I went on, Birthright, it's really it's meant for just U.S. Jews to support Israel, and it works because it's a beautiful place to throw a bunch of chicks at you. You get some puss, and it's a good time out there. But so, yeah, definitely don't throw up in public. Buy weed off a guy on the beach. And I'm Mike Linehan, and this is Leisure Hour Radio. Thank you guys for listening.